Hey guys, this is Camper 15, joined by my uncle Daryl, and we're back with another Marvel TV show review for you guys. And I know we missed 1 week, but we're here to catch up with the last two episodes of She-Hulk: Attorney at Law, which has honestly been really good. I liked it. I've enjoyed the first two episodes. So yeah, I was expecting good things from this show, but I'm definitely intrigued to see where She-Hulk's going.
Yeah, I got to admit, so far, I like it too. It, I do love Tatiana Maslany as an actress. First time I've seen her, she did Orphan Black, and she was really good in that. She played a myriad of roles, five, six different roles on the show. So she's a really, really good actress. So I enjoy watching her, and yeah, so far I'm really enjoying the show so far.
Yep. So
We got
episode one,
is this one 6 episodes too?
I think so.
Okay, all right.
So this episode, episode one, because we're talking about episode one and two. Episode one pretty much covers how she became She-Hulk, and the one thing that started off is she's already established as She-Hulk, so she's kind of telling the audience, in kind of like a Deadpool type of way, breaking the fourth wall essentially of
Yeah,
what happened. So she was driving with her cousin Bruce, because they're cousins in the comics and they're cousins here. And they're just on the road, they're talking, and we see that Bruce is actually in his human form, which I believe back at the end of the Shang-Chi movie in their post-credit scene, people were wondering how did Bruce get into his human form. Well, he has this device that pretty much turns him back into his regular human form. He says that
correct.
the gamma is slowly healing his arm back, but it's not 100% healed yet. But all of a sudden, we see this ship from Sakaar just show up out of nowhere. They end up getting in a car accident. They fall out. Jennifer ends up getting out. She gets in contact with Bruce, and Bruce is telling her, listen, you need to get away. But his blood goes into her blood, into one of her cuts she has,
Right.
and she ends up turning into the Shield, which is, I believe, different from the comics, from what other people have been saying.
Honestly, I really not really sure about her origin, but I think it was an accident that she was in, and Bruce had to infuse some of his blood into her just so she could survive. So, but I did like this kind of twist as well too, because they are related. So they do share a certain genome, which would make it realistically possible for his blood to be able to, change her into a Hulk-like creature as well. So it was pretty believable for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And well, in the second episode, we'll talk more about this whole Hulk on this Sakaar ship, because people are throwing out the thing that maybe we could be getting World War Hulk or something like that in the
Correct.
future. But yeah, she ends up waking up. She's like near this bar area out of just the blue. Again, she goes in there. These ladies give her these clothes, and then when she starts getting hit on by these guys, she ends up turning back into She-Hulk again, but Bruce comes in, pretty much tackles her, knocks her out. She then wakes up and she's on Bruce's island in Mexico, which him and him and Tony actually made this to just stay off the grid for the Hulk after the whole incident. I'm guessing after Civil War. Or I don't know when. It's weird. I think they built it. I think sometime after Infinity War, I think they made a mention. I don't know. All
Right.
they made a mention is the fact that Tony Stark would always complain about Cap. And then the one funny thing about this episode was wondering if Jen was wondering like if Captain America ever had pretty much sex, which was absolutely hilarious. Because they pay that off at the end credit scene of like, yeah, he did. And apparently it was with that one girl. If you watch the first Captain America movie, after he did that one play, that's the girl he ended up losing his virginity to. Which that scene was hilarious. But
Yeah, that was pretty. I was kind of thinking that maybe she wanted to be the first
yeah,
if he wasn't, if he didn't, you know
I, I guess they're implying. I guess she's some sort of
she
fanboy.
sounded like she was pretty hot for Captain America. But then again,
Yeah,
what ladies aren't,
yeah. So she ends up waking up. She goes down the stairs and she finds this little library, and Bruce is there, and he's in
Hmm.
his Hulk form. Now we find now the thing is he's fully healthy, and people when they were watching the trailers like, oh, how his arms just magically healed again. We pretty much find out because he did like a DNA test. He took some blood from Jen. Pretty much, he was able to use it on himself to heal his arm because they had the same genetics and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's why she's pretty much so compatible. And essentially, this episode is Bruce teaching Jennifer how to manage her Hulk powers, which she hasn't got full control of them yet. She thinks she has control, which I think that's where they're gonna go. I think maybe she'll have a Hulk out moment where she just goes crazy probably later in the series because they built it
Mhm.
up like Bruce saying like you have yet to control these powers fully. Like here's a whole freaking book stack of my 15-year journey of being the Hulk. So that's it was absolutely like okay, makes sense. So he's doing the typical thing, like he has like this one thing, okay, you gotta learn to get angry, but then control that rage.
Yep.
And we see how she does like they do the saw thing. She turns into She-Hulk, but the thing is, he's like, okay, calm down, calm down. But she's actually in control of herself. She actually is aware and she actually can she her human side is the dominant part of the Hulk
Right.
personality within her.
Right. Unlike what Bruce used to be with the Hulk.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know exactly what, and I know they kind of talked about it a little bit, and I want to say it was in either Infinity War, um, uh, about Bruce's separation from the Hulk, and then in Endgame, he became, you know, he became more the dominant personality.
Yeah.
I think that was more mental between him and the Hulk, because him and the Hulk was clashing as far as which personality should be out. That didn't happen here with Jennifer. Jennifer, for the most part, I mean, right from the start, that she had more control over the Hulk than the Hulk personality had over her. Yeah, she got angry in which a couple of times in the first episode, in which she pretty much hulked out. Bruce scared her while she was asleep, and she hulked up just really quickly. So, but as the training went on, they just basically realized that, hey, Jennifer, you're not like me. You're already in control of your powers. You can turn it on and off whenever you want.
Yeah.
You know? So I thought that again, and we already knew that in the books anyway. The one cool feature about the She-Hulk is that, yeah, she can turn it on and off whenever she wants. She doesn't have to necessarily be angry to become the She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, but yeah, they have a training montage, things
Right.
that he's showing her to do, like throw rocks. And it's funny because they
Correct.
kind of do the thing where he's getting pissed off because she's doing things
Yeah.
fairly easy, like while it took a struggle for him. And I just like the thing
Right.
when they're throwing the rocks, she throws it fairly easy, and then he just gets upset. He just pretty much throws it to outer space, which shows you how strong he is, even though he's
Yeah.
like, I guess, a Professor Hulk version. But
Yeah.
yeah. But anyways, things happen to where Jen's getting tired of living this lifestyle, and she just wants to go back to being a lawyer. And Bruce is like, well, you can't do that. You're now a Hulk, so you're a changed individual.
Yeah. You're a superhero.
Yeah.
He kept throwing all of that out. Maybe his delivery should have been better. Maybe not use the term superhero. That was the part that was actually getting me. Why are you continually telling her she's a superhero? I mean, she she's not. I mean, the term hero is, embedded within someone to do great things. You don't necessarily have to be, but he kept telling it, you're a superhero now. Your powers have given you all of you have these abilities. So now you have to do certain things with these abilities, because if you don't, you're going to be forced to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So he was just trying to get her to realize that with these powers, the whole Spider-Man thing, with this power comes great responsibility. But obviously he can't say that, because that's a it's a different hero. I mean, that phrase is stuck with Spider-Man, but the meaning that Bruce was trying to get across to Jennifer was the same. You have this power now, so unfortunately, you stuck with it, and there's really not much you can do. You're going to be placed in a position where you're going to have to use these powers for good, and Jennifer was fighting that.
Yeah, and I think he was also coming from place of fear, because if she were to go She-Hulk back in America, people might have different views of her. So
he had that view that at this particular moment she didn't really, she either didn't know she could control her power better than Bruce could, or she was fighting it so much that the anger at certain moments in her life just took over, in which she probably would have did something stupid.
Yeah. So yeah, because of it ends up turning out into a fight where she's trying to leave, but Bruce is trying to keep her to stay.
Right.
The fight was, honest to God, funny. It was absolutely hilarious. But it was cool. It was cool to see the fight. But eventually, cooler heads pretty much prevail, because they end up destroying the little hut area that was made. So eventually, Bruce is like, "Okay, you can go. Just make sure you just stay in touch. Don't lose yourself,
and don't kill anybody."
Yeah. So. Yeah, she goes back, and there's this court scene at the end of the episode. Now, Titania, I believe that's her name, shows up.
Yeah, Titania.
Yeah. She ends up I guess she's like some sort of hero protester or something like that. And the thing is, I guess one of Jen's friends is like, "Hey, can you do the thing?" Because
her paralegal. Yeah, it was a paralegal, her assistant or what have you. She was like, "Hey, just go ahead and Hulk up. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it." So Jennifer goes along with what the paralegal says. I couldn't catch her name, but at the same time, she hulked up and she saved the day. And the She-Hulk as well, not She-Hulk. The name She-Hulk is not born just yet, but now everyone knows that Jennifer Walter is a Hulk.
Yeah. So that carries into the second episode, where she's pretty much getting a lot of publicity for this thing that she did in the courtroom, and eventually she's just kind of living the life, and then her boss shows up at a bar and pretty much like, can you go back to your old self? So she reverts back to her human self, and it's funny because she's drunk. She was drinking, but when
she was drinking a lot as the Hulk, but it wore off quick. She just fell the hell right on out, man. I was dying laughing at that particular part. Damn, man. Because early in the first episode, Bruce was basically telling her, "Hey, you can't get drunk. It doesn't bother us."
Yeah.
But man, when she hulked down, man, shoot, she fell the hell right on out, and I couldn't stop laughing. That thing was so hilarious, and she was just drunk while what was his name, Holloman or Holovac, or
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And he was there basically to offer her a job.
Oh no, at the bar.
At the bar, you're right. You're right. That's where she got fired.
Yeah.
So, and
yeah, it's a whole montage because of
it was just like no one wanted to be associated with someone like Jennifer as a lawyer in the courtroom. So she had her, she pretty much was down and out. Going to interview after interview after interview after interview, being turned down because, of everyone knowing that she's a Hulk.
Yeah.
So it was that part was, well, you know what? I shouldn't say it was strange. It was because, especially after watching Ms. Marvel, that people are still in the MCU. Ms. Marvel, Spider-Man, things like that, everything that went on with Mysterio. People are still somewhat afraid of superpowered individuals.
Yeah.
And the Department of Damage Control is, that's the department that's set forth to take care of these superpowered individuals. And as you've seen in Ms. Marvel, they just didn't do a really good job of trying to calm the public.
Yeah. So yeah, she ends up going over to her family's house, which her family is absolutely fun. I think her dad
Right.
was absolutely hilarious, but her dad was pretty much giving,
The brother was the one for me.
yeah,
Yeah, he was. Yeah, his brother was he just a surfer dude. That's what I, you know, was calling him. Be like, oh, surfer dude. That's all he was, man.
hmm
So
yeah. So her dad pretty much says, "Listen, things will be right. You know, just stay the course and keep doing what you need to do in your life." But eventually, this one guy we just made a mention earlier shows up, pretty much offers her a job, and of course she accepts it. Now she doesn't know what she's working, but we later find out which is the premise of the show. She pretty much is defending villains, or she's the attorney for villains that are trying to get out of
right,
prison for things that they did. And the first
right.
thing that or the first villain that she has to cover or be the attorney to is the Abomination,
Emil
which
Blonsky. That's right.
yep, which is this, which we see in this episode. He's in his human form. We'll see his Abomination self, which I heard, and I think I've even seen a clip where I guess he has a parent squeaky voice, which I guess is turning people off. I have to hear more. Maybe he shows his raw, deep voice, but we'll see. Um, but we see the old actor from the 2008 Incredible Hulk film actually reprise his role to play it, and pretty much, you know, Jennifer is against this because, well, you know, this dude tried to kill her brother way back. I mean, not her brother, her cousin way back then, and she even calls Bruce about that. And it's funny
Mhm.
because I think they make a little, I guess you can say they make a little reference or a shot of the fact, because Bruce is like, oh, like, look, time, that was so many years ago, like I'm a different person, which I guess you can hint at the Edward Norton, because at the time Edward
Right.
Norton was,
Was the whole
yeah, but then they
right.
changed to Mark Ruffalo.
Right. Now,
um
I will say this though. I think what made Jennifer, and I hope I'm not getting ahead of you,
Go
what
ahead.
made Jennifer pretty much change her mind is that Bruce made reference to some of the things that Blonsky had told her. Like, for example, he had a notebook, well, a little notebook with all these things he would write down to atone for his actions with certain folks that he said he had hurt. Well, Bruce had confirmed, albeit he didn't know that he was actually confirming it with Jennifer, that yeah, he wrote me some time ago, and yeah, I forgive him and everything like that. Everything is good. So I'm okay with you taking on this case with Emil Blonsky. The actor's name is Tim Roth. I liked him. He was in a TV show called Lie to Me. That was a very good show. So but Blonsky pretty much won her over. And me personally, nah, something just ain't right with this scenario. I don't know if it's Blonsky or the lawyer or the one that the person over the law firm,
Yeah.
but something just wasn't wrapped too tight with this whole situation. So we'll see definitely where it goes for sure. But a little bit later on, Jennifer had told Mr. Holloman, whatever his name was, that she was going to take the case. Well, he immediately said, hey, you know what's good? I'm glad, it's a great idea you taking the case, but I have something I need to show you. You need to turn on the television. You need to watch this. And then it's the clip from, Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings when the Abomination was in it fighting in the Fight Club.
Yep.
And then after that,
Yeah.
now we're just like, okay, hold on here. And this is me. I'm like, wait a minute, that's right. He was in Shang-Chi. So if he's in Shang-Chi, how did he get where he was? Well, I mean, so is it a different Abomination altogether? And I think now we're probably getting ready to get into the actual story of She-Hulk. She's defending Emil Blonsky. The Abomination was seen at this Fight Club. Wow. What we believe is Blonsky being in a maximum security prison at the Department of Damage Control. So now we're just waiting on what number 3 is going to bring forth to give us some answers on that scenario.
Yeah, and we know in one of the trailers, Wong does show up, so obviously he's gonna have a role to play. But it'll probably just be like why he did it and things like that. So very interesting. But before we get off, the one last thing we want to talk about is on that in episode 2, on that scene with Jennifer and Bruce talking, he was on that same Sakaar ship heading back to Sakaar. Now people
heading back somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
Heading back somewhere. He didn't say what he was doing. He just he wasn't cryptic. He was just, okay, well, I'm gonna be out of pocket for a little bit, So, and then he just took off into space because the phone dropped while they were talking, and she couldn't understand why. So we just assume he's heading back to Sakaar. So I guess there's more to come with that. I'm wondering if this is the last we'll see of him for this show, but it's got to be something else that we don't know about.
Yeah, some people have thrown out the theories maybe they're setting up a World War Hulk film, or maybe TV series. Or another thing is, they're throwing out the whole thing of Hulk's son out there. Maybe he could be a thing coming in the future. We don't know.
Where would he have a son at, though?
I think on the planet during the time span he was on Sakaar before Ragnarok.
Who would he have? I mean, because when he was on Sakaar, he didn't have control of his powers.
Yeah, so I know, but he was the Hulk. He was just the Hulk. So
correct.
Yeah, who knows? The Hulk personality took over. Maybe did something. Who knows? It could be something. We don't know, but it's interesting storyline. But the first 2 episodes of She-Hulk were really good. Definitely enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the next few episodes. Now, I don't know if they're going to change it to Wednesdays. I'm guessing it's only going to come out on Thursdays now. So okay, that's fine with me. I just have to wait one less day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with that. It maps out my week pretty well with AEW on Wednesday, She-Hulk on Thursday, AEW on Friday. So works well for me.
Yep. But other than that,
I don't know how it works for you, but
it's fine for me. I wish it came out on Wednesday, but I think that new Star Wars show is coming out, the Andor.
Oh yeah, I think I'll pass on that
one. Yeah. But anyways, that's it. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on the last 2 episodes of She-Hulk, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more Marvel content or any other content I have uploaded to the channel. But till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day. Peace.